Welcome, foolish mortals. There's no turning back now.
Row 18, plot 20.
Hey everybody, welcome to Now It's Dark. I'm Jim, and we are coming to a close on the October month of movie reviews and videos a day. And I really wanted to end the month of Dollar Tree theaters with a real big movie. I wanted to go werewolves for this theme. I've been trying to hit all the classic monsters, vampires, ghosts, witches, and whatever. And I picked up at the Dollar Tree this cool looking steelbook, Wolvesbayne. And I thought, all right, that's going to be the closer for the month. And man, there's a reason why this was at the Dollar Tree. Yeah, I actually wrote a lot of notes, 2 cards. Usually I do like 1 index card. But I really wanted to give this movie a fair review, so I took a lot of notes. We'll go over those after you watch this review. Movie trailer. I really need you to see the movie trailer to put into context some of the stuff I'm about to say. So come back after this trailer.
There's a world out there that very few people see. A dark world that exists side by side with the normal world.
Lilith, the first of their kind, the most powerful of them all.
Mystic's amulets that we used to put her into a state of suspended animation 400 years ago.
I shall make my captors pay.
I'm usually a selfish prick. It's worked pretty well for me up to now.
I think you're in danger.
You did something to me. I want you to stop. Make it stop. Make it stop!
We've been given an opportunity, Russell. And with our gift comes many things. Powers, responsibilities, enemies.
We have peace now. Bringing her back will reignite the war with the humans. And they'll come all they will find is death.
You could be so much more.
You're making me out to sound like some kind of superhero or something.
All right, so the IMDb score is only 3.7, not a stellar score. This was a TV movie from 2009, and it's an hour and 32 minutes long. I didn't realize this was a TV movie, but boy, it really screams TV movie when you watch it, and you could probably tell that from the trailer. The brief synopsis is: in 1887, the powerful vampire Lilith is vanquished by a vampire council. 4 amulets avoid her return to the world of the living, blah, blah, blah. So the vampires are trying to get the amulets. The werewolves are trying to keep the vampires from getting the amulets. Let's try to recompose. The director is Griff First. The writer is Lee Scott. It stars Mark Dacascos, Yancey Butler, and Rhett Giles. And interestingly enough, he didn't get a top billing on IMDb, but Jeremy London plays Russel Bayne, who is Wolvesbayne, the lead character. He's like this dick character in the film. Jeremy London is pretty recognizable. I think maybe his acting is subpar. He's definitely one of those made-for-TV movie actors, or television series that's only going to last half a season. Jeremy London, to me, is kind of like Jeremy London is like the poor. He's like the Wish.com Brendan Fraser. He's like just not a good actor. So this is available on Tubi. It's available on a lot of streaming services for free if you do want to check this out. It is a whole combination. I wrote down that it's sort of like Underworld meets American Werewolf meets the CW. It's kind of like a extended Charmed episode, just not as good as the Charmed, and I'm referring to the early show, not the reboot. Because you immediately get an early 2000s, the CW network vibe from this. I don't know what network this was on, if it was a sci-fi or what. The opening was, again, like I say this in a lot of reviews, the opening sequence was probably one of the better parts of the movie. Had kind of a comic book feel to it with like the old dots and some split screens that are supposed to look like comic book panels. So Jeremy London plays Russel Bayne. He is a like a developer, a property real estate developer, and he's trying to like secure this property. Goes to a shop, and it's this woman who's like the last holdout for selling off her property. He's trying to make her a bunch of sweet deals. Her shop is like a mystic shop, psychic shop, stuff like that. And as he's leaving because she won't sell, she gets like this look like, oh. And then she tells him that he's in danger. And he thinks that she's threatening him. Blah, blah, blah. He goes on his way. He must have been driving around for quite a while because all of a sudden it's nighttime. We see this yellow Volkswagen driving down a dark wooded road, and the director must have some sort of a foot fetish, which I didn't mind. It was one of the better parts of the movie, but this female character, who's just kind of like collateral damage, she doesn't serve any purpose other than to get the main character to pull off to the side of the road. Anyways, her car, she hits something, and she stops, but meanwhile there's like two very deliberate foot close-ups of hers. She's wearing like red heels or whatever. Just weird. Anyways, so she hits this creature, pulls off to the side of the road. Her car won't start. I think she was looking for the engine in the front and couldn't find it. It's a Volkswagen Beetle. Jeremy, I guess Russell, I'll call him by his character name, Russel Bayne, pulls over. He's only willing to call roadside assistance because he's a dick. And then he does that. She's a very beautiful woman, so he's just so consumed with himself that he's not even like thinking, oh, I can help her, and who knows what after that. So she goes back to her car, but then she gets attacked by the creature that she hit. At that point, he does kind of man up a little bit, and he goes out to try to help her. He also gets attacked, and then it's immediate. After that, he wakes up in the hospital. Doctor says, oh, your wounds are healing so fast, and blah, blah, blah. He goes back to work because he's just consumed with, business. A police detective comes to visit him at his office. And again, he's back to being his dickish self. And he doesn't understand why a homicide detective is visiting him when he says it was a bear or a wolf or some type of animal that did the attack, so he didn't understand why homicide was involved. And then there's just awkward TV moments, and in this particular scene was one of them where they just do like this back and forth staring, and it was just really weird. And then we flash back to a little bit of Lilith's story, and she's played by Yancy Butler. She's like the head vampire mistress, and they have the scene in front of a theater and then inside of a theater. And on the outside of the theater, the marquee says Rice Theater. And I can only think that that was kind of like an Easter egg to Anne Rice. Otherwise, not really sure. The vampire looks were very early Buffy the Vampire Slayer, just with bad contact lenses. So they give you a little bit of the backstory of Lilith and that these vampires are looking for the amulets. And we do a full moon in the sky transition back to the future. One of my favorite transitions in all of B movies is the classic full moon transitions, which to me only work in the original Friday the 13th. But anyways, we're then introduced to the Van Helsing character, and this is not the Van Helsing, but must be a descendant of. They may have explained that, but I'm going to be honest, I really started to lose interest in this movie because it felt so much like a TV movie that I gave it that kind of attention. We finally get a transformation scene. It wasn't horrible, it's a classic werewolf transition where they kind of do it from a distance. He's in his apartment, his house, whatever, his big, huge palatial mansion. And it's the whole transition, and then it immediately clicks to him waking up in bed. And that's so often done in werewolf movies. So we always miss the first night of action. And that goes back even as far as the original Wolfman from the Universal Studios. We get the transition scene, but we don't get the what do they do after that first transition. So he wakes up very dirty. It's the whole, he must have done something because he's got dirt, mud all over his clothing. Goes into his living room, finds a pig. I like a half-eaten pig. So that was a little weird. I thought that was kind of an odd choice, but I guess since it's a TV movie, you couldn't have that be a person that he killed, like a coworker or his secretary who he's having an affair with, seeing. I don't know if it's technically an affair, but probably an inappropriate workplace relationship. Throughout the movie, there are some pretty bloody scenes. Like, there's a lot of blood. There's more blood than you would think there would be for a TV movie, and that's mostly all on the vampire side. So the shop owner reconnects with Russel Bayne as he is about to be not abducted, but lured away by two of the female vampires. The two hot vampire chicks go to pick him up, but the shop owner, and I keep calling her the shop owner. I don't know if she is Stephanie Honoré or if she's Christy Romano. I think it's Christy Romano who plays Alex Layton. Yeah. And then from there, it becomes obnoxiously gross and a huge comic book fan slap in the face when she literally gives him the "with great power comes great responsibility" speech. Like, literally almost uses that exact wording, because she says, like, this whole thing, but it literally was, "with great power comes great responsibility." And I think at that moment is when I was just like, no, I that is a Spider-Man thing. I get the whole thing, but he literally says, "What do you think I am, some kind of superhero?" And she was like, "Well, you can do a lot of good with your abilities and powers." And so I really tuned out a little bit more after that. I don't know why that bothered me so much. I guess I'm such a Spider-Man fan. But so the vampires are still collecting the amulets. They have to collect 4 of them. They're after him for some reason, and I think maybe he had one of the amulets. I don't even know. Like, that's how lost interest I got. So it builds to an epic battle within the theater and how these vampires had the theater for so long. I have no idea. At one point, they do resurrect Lilith. She's got very little screen time in full Yancey Butler look, and it seemed like a little bit of a waste. Like it would have been better maybe to have introduced her earlier into the movie and let her have some screen time, because the vampires themselves were very bland, very CW looking vampires with bad contacts. So there's the epic battle. We get Russel Bayne in wolf form again. The epic battle concludes with them being able to, the Van Helsing character kind of recites some incantation from the book of cantations that the vampires had to resurrect Lilith. He used it to reverse it. She goes away. Everybody lives happily ever after, or doesn't if you're a vampire. And then we have like a silly ending where the dick is now redeemed and he's now dickless, not a dick. And he's going to join up with the wolves. So, I don't know. To me, it's not worth a view. That's why I gave so much spoiler away. It's a cool collectible, I guess, to have because it's a steelbook. But I really wished I would have picked a different werewolf movie for the ending of my monster-themed Halloween spooktacular Dollar Tree theater. Let me know if you've seen this. If you remember when this was on air, what network it was. If it was the CW, I would not be surprised if somebody can confirm that. It's a 2009 movie. 3.7 stars. I think that's generous, actually. Maybe it's a 2 for me. Yeah. So anyways, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Dollar Tree Theater. And have a great day.
I would like to thank all the little people who work so hard to make this picture a success. I would like to thank them, but I really can't because I did it all myself.